My name is YONG and my register number is 01DTK20F1013. And now I'll show how I do the experiment 3 of semiconductor. So the component that we need in this experiment, it is transistor 2N222, transistor BC107, transistor BD135, and the transistor BD140. And before we start the experiment, we need to change the polarity, the terminal of the probe. So the REG probe connect to the negative com, and the black probe connected to the positive terminal of the multimeter. First thing that we need to do is identify which terminals is the base terminal. And now we need to change the range to the resistance times 10. So okay, alright, the pointer show 0. Okay, it is fine. Now we need to follow the instruction of the left sheet. So red probe connect to terminal 1, black to 2. So first we need to make sure the terminals is facing the front. So here's got a number, so the number need to facing us. So show that it is front. Okay, now red probe to the terminal 1, black probe to the terminal 2. It show infinity. Then for the red probe to the terminal 1 and the black to the 3. Alright, as you can see, so the red probe to the terminal 1 and the black probe connected to the terminal 3. They show infinity. Now the red connected to the terminal 2, black connected to terminal 1, and here it is, red to 2, black to 1. Multimeter show 7. So 7 times 10 is 70 ohm. Okay, now red to the terminal 2, black to the terminal 3. Okay, red to 2, black to 3. So the multimeter show about 7, and 7 times 10, 70 ohm. Now is red to terminal 3, black to terminal 1. Okay, black to 3, black to 1. The multimeter show infinite ohm. Okay, now red to terminal 3, black to terminal 2, black to 3, black to 2. The multimeter show infinite ohm. Alright, now the transistor 2N22 is done. And now for the transistor BC107, red to the terminal 1, black to the terminal 2, black to 2. Okay, red to 1, black to 2. The multimeter show infinite ohm. Now for the red to the terminal 1, black to the terminal 3, red to 1, black to 3. Multimeter show infinite ohm. Now for the red to the terminal 2, black to the terminal 1, red to 2, black to 1, and multimeter show 7, so times 10, 70 ohm. Now for the red to the 2, black to the 3, red to 2, black to 3. Now multimeter show about 7.5, so times 10, it is 75 ohm. Okay, red probe to terminal 3, black probe to the terminal 1, red to 3, black to 1. It show infinite ohm. Alright, now red probe connected to terminal 3, black probe connected to terminal 2, red to 3, black to 2. So it show infinite ohm. Okay, transistor BC107 is done. And now for the transistor BD135. And now red probe to terminal 1, black probe to terminal 2. So make sure the number is facing us. And now the red to the 1, black to the 2. Infinite ohm. Now red to the terminal 1, black to terminal 3. Red to 1, black to 3. Infinite ohm. Now it's red connected to terminal 2, black connected to terminal 1, red to 2, black to 1. And it show infinite ohm. Okay, red connected to terminal 2, black connected to terminal 3, red to 2, black to 3. Okay, show infinite ohm. Alright, red to terminal 3, black to terminal 1. It is okay, black to 1, red to 3. It show about 7. So times 10 is 70 ohm. Now it's red to the terminal 3, black connected to terminal 2, red to 3, black to 2. It show also 7. So times 10, 70 ohm. Alright, so the transistor BD135 is done. And now it's for the transistor BD140. And now red to the terminal 1, black to the terminal 2. So red to 1, black to 2. On the multimeter show infinite. Okay, red to terminal 1, black to terminal 3, red to 1, black to 3. It show 7. So times 10, 70 ohm. Now is the red to terminal 2, black connected to terminal 1, black to 1, red to 2. It show infinite ohm. Alright, red to terminal 2, black to terminal 3, red to 2, black to 3. Okay, it shown 7 and times 10, 70 ohm. Red now is connected to terminal 3, black is connected to terminal 1. Okay, red to 3, black to 1. Multimeter show infinite ohm. Now is red to terminal 3, black to terminal 2, red to 3, black to 2. Okay, show infinite ohm. Now we have finished the meter reading for these 4 transistors, and now we need to find out which terminal is the base terminal. For this transistor 2N222, we can find out that only these two connection is shown the value and the deflection of the multimeter. And now we need to find out which terminal is used 2 times by the probe. And in these 2 connection, okay, now we know that it is terminal 2 because it's shown 2 times used by the REG probe. So it is terminal 2 is the base terminal for the transistor 2N222. Okay, now for the transistor BC107, okay, we know that is this only 2 number value, right? We know these 2 show the deflection of the multimeter, and we need to know the terminal 2 times actually. Okay, this here 2 row, so it is terminal 2 that used by REG probe. So the terminal 2 is the base terminal for the transistor BC107. Okay, for the transistor BD135, now we know is the 5th and the 6th connection is show the deflection of multimeter, and we'll know which terminal is used 2 times by that probe. So it is terminal 3 used by REG probe. So the terminal 3 is the base terminal for the transistor BD135. Okay, so now for the transistor BD140, so this 2nd and the 4th connection is show the deflection of multimeter, and we know so the terminal they use 2 times by the probe, and also show the deflection of the multimeter. So the 2nd and the 4th here, so it is terminal 3 they use by REG probe. So the terminal 3 is the base terminal for the transistor BD140. Okay, we know that the base terminal for these 4 transistors. Now the type of transistor, whether it is NPN, NPN or PNP type. For the transistor 2N2222, we need to find out which of these 2 probe is connected to the base terminal for the transistor 2N22. So just now is terminal 2 is the base terminal here. So the REG probe, which is positive probe, is connected to the base terminal. So the message is show if the probe is positive, so the transistor is NPN type. So it is NPN type. So for the BC transistor BC107, the terminal 2 is the base terminal for BC107, terminal 2. So this row here, also the terminal 2. So also the REG probe is connected to the terminal 2, which is also base terminal. So REG probe is positive, so it is NPN type. Now for the BD135 transistor, so it is the base terminal is terminal 3. So terminal 3, it is also REG probe is connected to terminal the base terminal, also base terminal 3. Okay, REG probe also means positive of the probe, so it is NPN type. Alright, for the BD140 transistor, it is also terminal 3, is the base terminal. So for this, here it is terminal 3, base terminal. So it is the black probe is connected to the terminal 3 just now. So black probe is negative probe, so now it is PNP type. Now I have to sketch the transistor shape and label the terminal with base, collector, and also emitter. Now I sketch the transistor 2N2222. Okay, so for the terminal, we need to label. Before we label the terminal with base, collector, and emitter, we need to find out which terminal are there. And now we change the ohm range to times 10K. Okay, and make sure the probe, the 0 pointer is show 0 after we change the range. Okay, according to the left sheet, we know that the NPN type transistor, the negative probe, which is black probe, is connected to the base, and the positive probe, which is red, and is connected to the collector and emitter. And the PNP transistor is different. The positive probe is red is to the base, and negative is to the collector and emitter. For the transistor 2N2222, the base terminal is terminal 2, and it is NPN type. So for the NPN type, we need to connect the negative probe to the base terminal, which is now terminal 2, and the positive probe is connected either collector or emitter. So we need to check the value. So when the REG probe connected terminal 1, it shows about 50 on the emitter, times 10, about 500K. And now the positive probe is now changed to terminal 3. It shows infinite. So now is the value is bigger than just now that the REG probe is connected to terminal 1. So according to the left sheet, it shows the higher value is the collector and the lower resistance value is the emitter. So terminal 3 is the collector, and this one is the base, the terminal 2, and the first one, the terminal 1 is the emitter. Now for the BC107 transistor, so we know that the base terminal for this transistor is terminal 2, and it is NPN type. So we need to connect the negative terminal to the terminal 2 and positive terminal to the terminal 1 and 3. Now black to the base terminal 2 and red to the terminal 3. I show about this value, right? And now change the REG probe, the positive probe, to the terminal 1. Okay, REG to the 1, REG to the base terminal 2. It show infinite, so it is bigger than the resistance value just now at the terminal 3. So terminal 1 is the collector for this BC107 transistor. Collector at terminal 1 and base at the terminal 2. Emitter at the terminal 3. Alright. Then the transistor BD135. Okay, we know that the terminal 3 is the base terminal for this BD135 and it is NPN type. So we need to connect the negative probe to the base terminal 3 and positive to the terminal 1 or 2. Okay, the negative to the terminal base terminal 3 and the positive probe is connected to terminal 1. It shows about this value. Now I change the REG probe, the positive probe, to the terminal 2. Now REG to the terminal 2, REG remain at the base terminal 3. It shows infinite. So now the terminal 2 is, the value at the terminal 2 is bigger than the terminal 1. Now we know that the terminal 2 is the collector and the terminal 1 is the emitter. And here terminal 3 is the base. Okay. Now for the BD140 transistor. Now we know that the base terminal is the terminal 3 for this transistor BD140 and it is PNP type. It is different from these 3 transistors. And now we need to connect the positive probe to the base terminal 3 and negative probe, which is black probe, connected to terminal 1 and terminal 2. Now the positive connected to base terminal 3 and negative black probe is connected to terminal 1 and the multimeter show about this value. So now I change the black probe to the terminal 2. Now it show, okay, the black probe is connected to terminal 2. The multimeter show infinite ohm. Okay, so now the terminal 2 is bigger, the value of terminal 2 is bigger than the terminal 1. So the terminal 2 is the collector and the terminal 1 is the emitter. And terminal 3 is the base. Okay, the final step that I have to find out the type of transistor, whether it is silicon or germanium type, and I have to change the range from times 10k to times 10 and make sure after we change the range the pointer shows 0. Okay, now for the transistor 2N2222, we need to connect the REG probe to the emitter and the REG probe, the black probe, to the collector, or vice versa. Now the REG probe is connected to the emitter and the black probe is connected to collector. The multimeter show infinite, so I change the position of the probe. Now the black is connected to the emitter and red connected to the collector. And now the multimeter also show infinite. So the both reading is the same, means it is silicon type. Now for the BC107 transistor. Okay, the collector is terminal 1, emitter is terminal 3. Now the black probe is connected to collector and red probe is connected to emitter. The multimeter show infinite. So I change the position of probe. So now the red probe is connected to collector and black probe is to the emitter. And the multimeter also show infinite. So it means the both reading is the same and it is silicon type. And for the BD135 transistor, the emitter is the terminal 1 and the collector is terminal 2. Now the red probe is connected to emitter and black probe is connected to the collector. The multimeter show infinite. Now also I change the position. Now the red probe is connected to the collector and the black probe is connected to the emitter. The multimeter also show infinite. Both reading also same, means silicon type. As for the BD140 transistor, the emitter is the terminal 1 and the collector is the terminal 2. Right, red probe is connected to the emitter, black probe is connected to the collector. Multimeter show infinite. Okay, then now the red probe is connected to the collector and the black probe is connected to the emitter. The multimeter show also infinite. Both reading the same. So the silicon type, it is the silicon type. But if the reading, the one of the reading show the higher value and the another reading show lower value, it means the transistor is the germanium type. So here's the result for the experiment 3. Okay, thank you very much.